There we go. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
What's up?
What is going on, party people?
Peeps.
Who's first on stream? I'm going Ryan 840.
I'm going Shane. Just because you already took Ryan 840. Nobody can type.
Claire.
What up, Claire? Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Oh, Sarah, what's up?
Sarah's in. Who's next? I'm going to go Ryan.
Ernesto. Just random name picks.
Who's he going to be?
Greg's always late to the party.
Nora.
Oh, Nora. What's up? Well, her schedule is working out where she's on a lot with us.
I know. It's really working out good.
Look at this.
She's catching every show.
All the ladies. And their song you can play for them.
All the single ladies.
They're not, though, but like.
They're not. Though.
Ryan 840 Ernesto. What's up? Good morning, fellas.
What up, bros?
Bros.
Yeah. Oh, baby. What a day.
Got Tuesday. Robin Washer, Brian Munson.
As my good Royals buddy Red just texted me, it's a great day for baseball.
Yes, it is. We'll talk baseball coming up. This is an up and down day for Hooksy.
I'm jacked to the tits.
What up, Ryan?
Yeah. Hey,
What up,
Schmidt.
Ryan Schmidt? Good morning. Sad day yesterday, too.
Yeah, a lot of sad news.
Sad news, man.
Yeah.
You brought me another sad piece this morning. I don't know how you got that one.
What are you talking about?
Well, the 30. You said they come in threes, right?
Yeah.
We'll
Frank.
get there.
Frank from American Pickers died
Passed
today.
away. The hell, Frank?
What is going on?
Good morning,
Yeah,
Shane.
I mean, Pete Rose and,
Yep, Pete Rose.
and Matumbo. That's big news, but Frank from American Pickers, that's
sad. They're all sad. We'll talk about those guys. We'll all get them up. Come. I don't know. I know we're giggling when you say that, but there's nothing better than Shane's McDaniels photo. Thank you so much for that.
And now we have to call him McDaniels every time.
It's McDaniels.
Yeah.
All the time. I laugh.
And Jimmy Carter, yes, is 100 today.
Man,
he's old, isn't he?
Real old. I'd say he's old, isn't he? like you're asking me if that's old.
100.
He's old, isn't he?
Wow.
Well, I'd say
He is old.
What is that little emoji?
Jimmy Carter.
Looks like a peanut. Is that a peanut emoji?
Reagan came after Carter. Is that right?
Sure. He said I needed some comic relief after that Seahawks game. Yes, Shane. Morning from the kegging floor, fella. What up, Pac-Man?
What up, Pac-Man? Yeah, Shane, they tried to stay with him last night.
They did. Boy, I would have talked about that again. They're both like, my gosh. Gino still got it.
Yeah, Gino played good.
Over 400. Oh, man. Happy birthday, William Daniel. 7 years old today. Ryan 840's firstborn. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. What a name. What a
Willie,
name.
you call him Willie D.
What a name your son has.
Hope he's listening. Hope you're letting him stream. 7. He's probably in school, right? I don't even know anymore. What age did they go to school? 5, 6, 7? Don't know. It's going to be a good show. It'll be a good Tuesday. Boy, beautiful day outside today, too, man. Roll your windows down for driving around. 72 for the high.
Baseball weather.
Baseball all day.
I'm leaving work early to watch the game.
Play the Luke B-Day song. Ernesto.
The Luke?
Like Uncle Luke from Miami?
Oh, no.
I'm kidding.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
He levels the bat a couple of times. Shao kicks and he fires. Rose swings.
There it is. There it is. Get out. Get out.
All right. Hit number 4192. A line drive single into left center field. A clean base set. And it is pandemonium here at Riverfront Stadium.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Tuesday. Welcome in the morning hookup. Happy first of the month.
What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? Boy, real quick, man. Shout out Ryan 840's firstborn 7 today, William Daniel. By the way, see what he said, what he was named after?
Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday, William. Happy birthday. He's named after his 2 great-grandfathers who fought in World War II.
Wow.
My goodness.
Happy birthday,
Happy
son.
birthday. Happy first of the month, Will Wilson.
Happy first of the month to you.
Boy, happy Major League Baseball playoff day.
That's right.
Let's go.
The playoffs are here,
Let's go.
and I am psyched.
We all should be. It's
I-
gonna be a hell of a day.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Are you able to be somewhere to watch?
Yes. In fact, I got it cleared so I could leave work early
I
today
did hear that.
to watch the game with my buddy Red. And
That's not why you said you were leaving. I'm
what?
kidding. Baseball today. Baseball today, right now. We've got, electric day yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to watch, if you're a Braves fan or a Mets fan or a
Man.
Diamondbacks fan, right? Because the Diamondbacks were done. You're sitting there, you're hoping. Like game 1, I'm pissed. I'm up and down, emotional. I'm up and down. Spencer Schwellenbach just lights out. 7 innings, 1 run, 4 hits.
He pitched really good.
Which great, dude. He's there to stay.
Yeah.
Okay, there. But
Yeah.
the Braves can't hold it. Bullpen comes up, gives up 6 in the 8th. Something like that. 6 and 8.
Yeah.
The Braves, they go 6-3. Braves get 4. You're thinking, all right, here we go. Then stupid Lindor comes in, hits a home run, boom, ball game. They lose game 1.
That was a hell of a hit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what was weird about that hit is he hit that ball and he immediately
Oh, he
the
knew.
look at his I disagree. The look at his face, you thought it was a pop-up.
Yeah, well, he's so nonchalant.
But that ball carried and
By the way,
goodbye. That was a hell of a game.
That's how you hit a home run and just don't showboat.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
That was a hell of a
Old school
game.
stuff. And then so Braves lose, and then the Diamondbacks all of a sudden they become Mets fans
Yes.
real quick because the only way the Diamondbacks got in is somebody had to sweep.
Yep.
As a Braves fan, you're pretty down, right? The team's got to be down. You got to figure out a way to get yourself back up. And then get word that Chris Sale has back spasms and he's not going to go. What?
I don't believe that.
I don't know. They're saying right now he's not in the series.
I think
they don't even have a starting pitcher named yet, if you look it up.
I think there was some conversation between both teams where
No, why would you? Chris
The
Sale
Mets-
needed to pitch.
the Mets were like,
But
all
the-
right, man, hey, we'll lay down. We'll let you guys win. And when the Phillies heard or the Braves heard that, they're like, all right, Sale, you're sitting.
No,
so we can
lay
save you."
down, dude. The starting pitcher for the Mets, this I don't know, Lucchini, whatever.
Who?
I don't even know. He went 6 innings, 3 hits and a run. He was lights out. He was lights out. Now
I don't know why-
luckily, Atlanta got good pitching right in that game.
Yeah.
They got it all the way down. They had to use a lot of dudes. They had to use dudes that pitched in the first game. They had to use one dude that gave up the home run to come back and pitch a couple outs.
Here's what I'm noticing.
3-0 playoffs.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm noticing from you is the Braves are they're in the playoffs, but you don't seem very.
They're out.
You don't
They
seem
got
very
nothing.
confident.
I don't
in
think they
this.
have a lot left. I mean, this pitching thing is a disaster. You pitch Swelly and Sale can't go. They're going to piece this thing together against a red hot Padres team that's well rested.
Yeah, but by the way, we
No.
came on this show before when the playoffs start, and it was like you didn't even know they were starting. Now
Well, that's because there's electricity
it's changed.
behind your Royals. You're talking about them.
I think overall baseball's in a better spot than it was 2 seasons ago.
Agree. Boy, so today you get just kick it off. You get Tigers Astros, 132 first pitch somewhere in there.
Who do you like in that one?
I like the Astros, unfortunately.
I like the Tigers.
Now the Tigers are playing red hot baseball, but
That's why I like them.
well rested teams. You look at these guys now. I will say you got a good matchup. You got your is it Skubal for the Tigers. He's the now. By the way, and you look at both leagues, some stats and stuff like that. You have 2 pitchers who both won the Triple Crown of pitching. This Skubal, I think that's his name, and Chris Sale all won the 3 major categories, and they will be the Cy Young winners for both leagues. So you got a good matchup there. He'll go against Valdez today. Then at 3:08, then the Royals are going to get going. You got Burns for the Orioles, and is it Reagan's?
Cole Reagan's
today.
Yeah.
You'll get those two. Then you'll go Mets Brewers. Mets got to get themselves back up. They had to travel as well this morning probably to get there. And then the Braves. The Braves got to go out west. Probably get up this morning. They'll go against Michael King, and we don't know who's pitching. Lineups are not in yet. We don't even know.
We don't know.
But how much excitement is going on?
Well, and the Royals got good news today. Vinny Pasquantino, excuse me,
Yeah.
the Pasquatch, what they call him, he's back. They're saying who could be batting in the lineup today.
Let's go.
It's
baseball time.
They have missed him the last 2 months of the season, and it is a big deal that he's back today. And I like the Royals' chances. If their pitching shows up, they have a shot.
Styles makes matchup. What is do you know what their record is against Royals against Orioles this
Yeah,
year?
it was 4-2 Baltimore.
Okay. So that's not bad.
And a lot of those games were pretty close. So
be a lot of
fun.
fun.
The Orioles really, since the All-Star break, have not played good.
No.
Not compared to what they did in the first half.
So happy playoff baseball, everyone out there. So
it's here.
Also, before we get to Robin Watson here momentarily, you got a few minutes. Call him in a couple. Let's talk some baseball.
Yeah.
Boy, got word yesterday. And if you watch the Braves telecast and Eduardo Perez was on there, he pretty much broke the news almost.
Yeah.
That he got a text from Pete Rose Jr. that Charlie Hustle passed away, 83 years of age.
And by the way,
Pete Rose,
you used that name pre-show, and I'm like, who are you talking about?
Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle.
I've never heard that nickname.
So I had to look it up. It was an interesting story. So I looked this up, and Pete has told this story, and so it's kind of a term, Charlie Hustle, but to me it was interesting to find out where he got it from and who he got it from. Apparently, back in 1963 in spring training. Now, spring training, that's where you get this whole Charlie Hustle, right? Because nobody really hustles in spring training, do they?
No.
But he was facing off against, the Reds were facing the Yankees in 63. And this name came from two guys named Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford. They nicknamed him this as watching him diving in the third and first and home and all these places head first. They're like, well, this Charlie Hustle. And it stuck since 1963. There's not been a guy, again, I know that there's the double life of this thing, right? It's a very complicated situation. But when you look at just baseball, and again, we got to maybe catch him at the end of a career, blah, blah, because he played for like 4 or 5 teams, Reds twice, the Expos, who else? Phillies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he finished his career in 1986 with the Reds. Okay. But there's not been a player, when you look at the highlights and stuff, that played harder or faster or tougher than this guy. He was the epitome of the way you play the game of baseball. I mean, you go back, you get the head first slides all the time, the hustles out, down the first, whatever the case. You go back and the guy ran over a catcher in the All-Star game. Right?
He was different.
You go back and look, stats, 303 career hitter, all-time hits leader, by the way, 4,256, hit 160 home runs, 1,300 runs batted in. Career that spanned from 63 to 86, 17-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, NL MVP 1-time, Rookie of the Year, World Series MVP, 2-time Gold Glove winner, 3-time batting champion. The records that he holds, by the way, are career hits. Career singles at 3,215. Played in 3,562 games. That's a record still.
Wow.
Had 14,053 career bats. Record. Also had 15,890 career plate appearances. Also, the only individual ever to play 500 games or more at 5 different positions. First base, 939. Second base, 628. Third base, 634. 671 in left and 595 in right.
Wow.
Charlie Hustle. Obviously, there's a lot of that talk. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Should he be in the Hall of Fame? As you know, back in the day, he was betting on baseball, denied it for the longest time, finally accepted and said yes, that he was betting on baseball and games that he was managing in.
Yeah, but he was betting on his team.
Yeah.
There's no doubt this guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And people are arguing that, he had a lifetime ban. Well, that's up. He did it.
Yeah.
Lifetime. Put him in. He's dead. Lifetime ban. Put him in.
Let it go. Yeah, but that's a complicated situation. There's a lot of good old boys club that might not ever allow that.
That's so funny that,
Go back to Faye Vincent, to Bart Giamatti, to who's the guy now? Even whatever.
Who are you talking
No,
about?
the commissioner. I'm talking about Faye Vincent, who actually performed the
Manford.
act.
Yeah.
To moving on. Like they're all not going to let it happen. It's not even in his Manford's radar screen. It hasn't been for years.
But I think we all agree that he deserves.
Stat wise, there's no doubt about it.
How is the top hitter in baseball not in
there.
the Hall of Fame?
Not there.
All because he gambled. And so that's the MLB telling us that, okay, you can't gamble. Well, now there's a ton of rules saying you can't. Like, it's just foolish to me.
Also, as we were talking about it, you also get word earlier yesterday that Dikembe Mutombo passed away, 7'2", 260, out of Georgetown, former first-round pick, 4th overall, went to the Nuggets. Oh, man, played a lot of years, 91 to 2009, played for 6 different teams, 8-time All-Star, 2-time third-team NBA All-Team, 1 second-team, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Boy, you just remember him from his, I think he's the second in rebounds total, but everybody remembers the finger wag, man, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Dikembe, not in my house.
And then he did that Geico commercial a few years ago. Yeah.
Legendary career, man. Over 11,000 points, 11,729 rebounds, by the way, for a career spending that long, over 12,000 rebounds. That was over 10 a game for his entire career. And averaged almost 3 blocks a game. If you look at it, his career, 3,289 blocks.
They go in threes.
And you broke the bad news at Frank from Pickers.
Frank from American Pickers. Yeah,
man, he's gone.
Matt had a funny question. Has anyone ever seen Frank from Pickers and Pete Rose together in the same room? Just saying. Don't think anybody has.
Oh, man. So,
all
all right, let's get Robin Wash. We're going to get Robin Wash it. Yeah, but baseball today, man, if you get a chance, go out, watch some baseball. Unfortunately, all those gentlemen passed away, man.
Who's next?
Stop it. It's October and it's freaking Halloween month. Funny to think that probably just 8 years ago, 10 years ago, you were trick-or-treating.
I know. I could still pass.
Robin might be busy today. I wonder if they went early at the presser. Boo!
It's always embarrassing.
They might have gone early on the presser today. So,
yeah.
A few football notes, by the way, while we're waiting on Robin maybe to call if you're looking at it, because we're going to have Brian Munson as well today. So don't worry. We'll get some Husker talk going on. I thought it was interesting yesterday with Coach Rule. And give me your take on this, Will.
All right.
So Mazuka was suspended.
Yeah.
He's back. But he's a backup. The comment yesterday, he goes, I wouldn't start him versus Rutgers. He was a backup player before this happened when he came out of the Colorado game. Levitsky was put ahead of him. I love Micah. I'm working with him to make sure he's the best he can be. You guys talk a lot about him, but he's a backup player for us. Didn't we think that he was probably our best offensive lineman?
He is.
But didn't you find it interesting that he's a backup player for us? Comment.
Well, I think he's.
Is that like throwing is like, hey, and by the way, putting you in your place?
Yeah.
You're a backup player.
I think he's trying to get under his skin a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying to light a fire under his butt. I think that's what he's doing. Because Mazuka's obviously having some self issues.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're trying to work him through some stuff and whatever. But I just found that interesting. It had to be coach talk.
Yeah,
so he knows. By the way, you're a backup player.
Yeah,
But also was talking to the media. We spend a lot of time talking about this guy when he's a backup.
Well, yeah, which proves that he's not a back. Didn't he start? I thought he started the first game.
We have not ran in between the tackles since he's been out.
Yeah. Rule knows what he's doing.
Just throwing it out there.
Rule knows what he's doing on that. And by the way, I mean, let's hope that whatever's going on gets fixed because we need him in the lineup, no doubt. We need him on that right side of the O-line. That run game to the right did not look good against Purdue. We need him for sure. I'm honestly happy he's here in Lincoln.
Yeah, I mean, all the reports was he was headed to San Fran on a plane.
Who knows if that?
We don't know. There was a tweet. We know.
I haven't even seen that tweet.
No, I don't know.
I'm just happy he's here because for a while I think we all thought he was gone for good.
Rule also talked a little bit about the kicking game yesterday, and he quoted, "To me, it's the snapper. We practice so much on special teams, on field goals, on punts, and all those things. There's a problem. We'll fix it. But if you have to start changing things now, then we are panicked. We know what we need to do. I mean that sincerely. We know what to do, and they have guys that can do it. We just have to go get it done. That's coming in, by the way. If you look at the stats, a Rutgers team that, by the way, since Greg Schiano's been there, has blocked 17 field goals and 13 after attempts.
That is the worst news you could have gave me today. I did not know that.
Well, now it's like it's a target. It's a complete target, right? It's a target. They're like, hey, guys, we're good.
Teams know.
They're kicking.
Yeah.
We got this.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Gosh.
Target you.
That is great news to hear if you're Rutgers.
Also talked about Tommy Hill. He's feels good game time. We'll know more about that. They said he tried to get going, but he could just not get going the other way.
You know, that's too bad too, because he's probably he's going to get drafted, no doubt. But before the season, people were having him possibly first round, and him not playing is definitely not doing good things for his draft stock.
Now, also in good news, obviously, if you missed the game or probably didn't pay attention a little bit, Javen Wright played against Purdue. He was projected starter, and obviously went out with we didn't say it, but he had former blood clot issues, did not know the issue this time. He got in. He's going to be a big piece. Got in and played, 15, 20 snaps, got 3 tackles in that time. So also possibly getting Stephon Thompson back from his sprained foot this week. Because those are big pieces. You mentioned those because obviously we've been successful to what? Quarterback runs, mobile quarterbacks, and plays that get stretched outside the tackles, right? You're talking about a couple of guys that can get sideline to sideline for us.
Yeah, and I really that's great news because John Bullock played a good game. I'm worried about that secondary. And
if you get some of these guys back,
is a big deal.
It's going to open up some things, right? So let's say you got Javen Wright back. You've also if you get Stephon Thompson back, you get Tommy Hill healthy, possibly. Now you can take Buford and get him all over the field again.
Mm-hmm.
We've got people playing in some different spots. We've got to get them back to their normal spot. And some guys that are playing time that probably should be playing less time.
You looking at the depth chart?
I have not. You have it?
Yeah, the running back room.
Talk about it. Well, there's an oar in there, I believe.
There's 3 oars. Ramir, Dante, and Emmett.
Yeah.
Emmett,
like you said, he's worked his way to that oar spot now.
Yeah. He needs to be at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, this does show Mazuka.
He's in there.
Latovsky.
He's in there. Is this Robin Washut calling us right now?
Oh, let's see.
Good morning. You're on the morning hookup.
Sorry I'm late, fellas.
It's Robin.
Hey,
We
Robin.
knew you'd be there for us.
It's been a bit of a hectic morning here.
Well,
sorry for the delay.
Well, I got a tweet that possibly you're on sitting on the tarmac headed to San Francisco. Is that not true?
per unconfirmed reports. Yeah. Going the wrong direction.
Robin Wash at HuskerLane.com, hanging out in the morning hookup. Robin's, I know I made fun of that right there with that, but you get word yesterday that you look at that team and Mazuka is back with the team. Did you find it interesting yesterday the way he talked about Mazuka a little bit as just, hey, we make a lot of noise about a backup player?
Yeah, he definitely threw some cold water on that whole situation that, even if he is available, part of the team, whatever, like he's quote unquote a backup player for us, which kind of goes against the way that a lot of people viewed him. He was a day one starter, but apparently Matt Rule is saying that the only reason he was a day one starter was because Henry Lutovsky was still nursing that calf injury. And then as soon as Lutovsky got healthy, he basically claimed the job that would have been his, had it not been for the injury. So I don't know. He sure looks good. Micah Mazuka. His frame is unlike anything they have on that offensive line, just with his size and strength and athleticism. But, I think that you go back to that Colorado game, he was the only offensive lineman that got pulled early. And then from that point on, that's when Lutovsky took over, and Mazuka hasn't played an offensive snap since that point. So that may have been kind of the beginning of this whole situation, and maybe some emotions flared up as a result of that. But who knows? I don't know if we'll ever get a clear official documentation of what happened, but all that matters now is that Henry Lutovsky is their guy. And as long as he's healthy, he will be the starting right guard. And Mazuka is going to factor in on special teams and as a backup guard going forward.
Hey, Robin, I think we should think about that play we used like 10 times against Purdue. You know, the one where we threw it down the field and got a pass interference call. I think we should go back to that.
It was almost like Purdue's defensive backs were daring the officials. Like, they're not going to call this every time, right? So we can just, this is how we're going to counter Nebraska's advantage with the big physical receivers is we're going to be really physical with them and, kind of toe the line with penalties and just assume that the referees aren't going to call us for it every time. Well, guess what? The officials called it on them every single time. So I guess, a penalty is a penalty. And with all the complaints about the officials from that game, at least they were consistent in that regard. And Nebraska definitely benefited from it. So, I'm curious how much of that was Dylan, kind of identifying that and throwing the ball accordingly, or if it was just Purdue being overly aggressive and making it easy on Nebraska. But either way, there's a quarterback currently in New York that used to play at Green Bay that made a career out of that underthrown ball to generate a defensive pass interference. And so maybe Dylan's following the same model and having just as much success with it.
Again, we're speaking to Robin Wash at HuskerLane.com. Robin, also some takes. I know you and I kind of talked briefly about this real quick, but obviously, I think Nebraska is week to week still a work in progress, right? Like you're seeing different guys. Emmett Johnson, now we'll talk about him in a little bit, but my concern in the first half of the Purdue game was it seemed a little gimmicky at times. Obviously, we found something with Barney in the end around. He's quick. I like that. But some of the plays that we ran like that one we continue to go to, but also putting Carter Nelson in the backfield, it's almost like it became a little gimmicky instead of just trying to figure out who you want to be and what you need to be.
Yeah, I guess there's two schools of thought on stuff like that. Like on one hand, the whole conversation is about how these athletes they have and all these playmakers and how are they going to get them the ball? Well, they're trying to find ways to get Carter Nelson the ball and get Gabe Urban the ball around the goal line and get Heinrich Harburg involved in the offense because, they have all these good players, but there's only so many snaps and so many footballs to go around in a game. So, I guess I can see what they're trying to do. They have all these players and they're trying to use them. But at the same time, like at some point you're doing too much. And I think at times they were doing too much in that game where, especially out around the goal line, they couldn't do a little like reverse thing to Irvin. They couldn't do the jump over the pile thing with Nelson, but guess what worked? They turned around and handed the ball off to the most physical running back in Dowdell, and he plowed through for a touchdown on a 4th and 1. So it's like, what? Don't make things more complicated than they need to be just in the name of getting players on the field and getting the football in their hands. Like, it's a fine line you have to walk, and I'm sure it's not easy because you certainly want to get players like that more involved, but at the same time, personally, I wouldn't do it at the expense of, making sure you produce in situations where you have to produce. And around the goal line in a game like that, where you absolutely cannot kick a field goal, I would probably simplify it quite a bit.
We're talking to Robin Washit. Robin, Rutgers coming to town. How are you feeling about this? Rank the level of concern you have right now.
Well, it's a big game. I mean, Rutgers does a lot of things that has hurt Nebraska and at times beaten Nebraska this season where, they play a really controlled game. They're going to try to shorten it with a running game and, short intermediate passes. They have a quarterback in Nathan Kaliakmanis who has already beaten Nebraska. He's beat him a year ago out in Minnesota. So, he's the guy that has proven to be a problem for them. And he might not be the most talented guy, but he's just kind of crafty and he's got some dual threat ability and they like to get him outside of the pocket and give him the option to run or pass. And that's been a problem for Nebraska. I mean, go back to Northern Iowa. They were having a lot of success with that exact same game plan. Look at Illinois. They were having success with that exact same game plan. The beginning of the third quarter against Purdue, they were having success with that exact same game plan. So this is something that Nebraska's got to figure it out. They've got plenty of tape on what Rutgers is probably going to try to do to them. And so it shouldn't be anything surprise. It's just a matter, can they step up and prevent those types of plays from happening? Can they be disciplined with their outside contain and not allow those bootlegs to pop the way they did against Illinois and against UNI? So Rutgers has a really, really good running back. I call him Isaiah Pacheco Jr. and Kyle Monangai, just because of the way he runs. You're not going to get him down very often just with a one-on-one tackle. So gang tackling is going to be imperative, and preventing the leaky yardage that has been a problem the last 3 weeks from piling up is going to be probably more imperative this week than it ever has been, just because that's what Rutgers does. They, turn 3-yard gains into 6-yard gains just with physical running with Monangai. So there's reasons to be concerned, but at the same time, like, Nebraska should have beaten Illinois in a lot of ways if they just made a few more plays. They handily beat UNI. They were able to. The defense was able to shut down Purdue all game long, besides one drive, and that was a field goal. So, like, they've shown they can do it. It's just a matter of with this type of game, with a confident Rutgers team, can they step up to the plate? And I guess the biggest X factor is special teams. Not just Nebraska's ability to make a kick, but executing in every single phase, because Schiano has made a career out of blocking kicks, both punts, extra points, field goals, all the above. Nebraska's given up block punts. They just had 2 field goals blocked last week. So you can bet Rutgers is going to dial it up on every single kick and punt Nebraska has to take in this game. And those types of mistakes they made last week will probably get you beat this week.
Now, Robin, on the flip side of that, all the things we just talked about, where Rutgers could give us some problems, we could be welcoming back some healthy individuals. We got one back a little bit last week with Javen Wright coming on the field, possibly Stephen Thompson returning as well. What do those guys bring, and how can they help the defense and maybe correct some of those things that give us fits?
Well, Wright was probably going to be a starter if he didn't have that medical setback. So, I mean, that tells you everything you know about him. So that, if nothing else, gives them a pretty darn good trio with Bullock, who, in my opinion, has been Nebraska's best overall defensive player this season. And then Bayer, who has definitely flashed quite a bit. And then you add in Wright to that mix, like I said, who is one of their most unique defenders with his length and size, ability to play in the box as a linebacker, and then also drop into coverage as a safety. They just don't have anybody that can do all those things the way that he can. So that right there is pretty good. And then you add Thompson back into the mix. He's another veteran guy that has played some significant snaps this year. So that suddenly gives you quite a bit of depth and makes linebacker almost a strength, whereas at the beginning of the season, it was maybe the biggest question mark. The big issue is going to be behind them with Tommy Hill. He'll be a game time decision. My guess is, unless he's like really ready to go, they might sit on him again and then give him the bye week to recover, and then try to get him as healthy as possible for much more significant challenges in the passing game with Indiana and Ohio State coming up. So, he's a game time decision. We'll see how he feels. My guess is that they're going to err on the side of caution with him because, Rutgers doesn't scare you much with their passing game. I would personally rather have him ready to go after the bye, and then especially so with the way Sierra Wright steps up to the plate. And then, Jeremiah Charles, Mario Buford got some action. So, those young guys have kind of shown that they can hold their own. Gives you a little bit of a luxury to not have to force things with Tommy.
Robin, last one for get you out of here. Something that's probably flown under the radar screen. You're headed to a Big Ten Media Days this week, and some Hoopers are going to be up there. Have we figured out who's going? I know you're going, but who are they taking with them?
Yeah, so Bryce Williams and Juwan Gary are going to be the 2 players for Nebraska. They go Thursday. It's going to be a little bit different setup this year, where instead of each coach going to the podium like they did with football, they're going to mix it up. Because they're doing all 18 teams on one day, they kind of got to rapid fire through it. So they're doing 3 coach little mini roundtables to replace the podium sessions. And it's going to be moderated by BTN personality. And I don't know what they're going to talk about. They say they're going to talk about like issues facing college basketball. So like they might get into a little bit of team specific stuff, but that's going to be like the TV portion of it. And then the coach and players will be off to the side for like little side podium interviews as usual. So from a watching on TV standpoint, probably going to be pretty boring. Well, maybe not with Fred because he's getting paired with Eric Musselman, who that guy's a wild card in everything that he does, and then Mike Woodson, like who his give a S factor is about as low as it gets. So like he might like drop an F-bomb or something. Like who knows? Like so you never know what he's gonna say. Musselman might end up with his shirt off by the end of it, and then Fred's probably just gonna be like, "All right, get me out of here, please." So if nothing else, the entertainment value of just that dynamic with those three, we'll at least be spending 10 minutes to watch.
Awesome, Robin, man. We appreciate your time as always, my friend, man. Safe travels, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Sounds good, fellas. See you later.
Robin Watch at HuskerLane.com. Let's take a break. Come back with Brian Munson, HuskerLane.com.
You're listening to the Morning Hookup with Bill Hooks and Will Wilson. More coming up.
Nice.
Yeah, buddy.
30 minutes. No commercial.
Yeah,
We're good. We're
sorry,
fine.
guys. We're going to go quick this one.
We're good.
Sorry.
Everything is, you know what? Today is going to be a great day.
Yeah, there's baseball.
The Royals are going to win. I might even give away my parlay I put together. I don't know.
You should. I think you should.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have to make this a quick interview.
Yeah. Can you conduct it? I got to go to the bathroom. Just kidding.
Well, I thought you did all your bathroom this morning.
I did. Tummy hurt this morning about 4:30, boys and girls. I'm good now, though. Is there like I smell a lot. I don't know. There's like, they had that Amigos breakfast in there earlier. It's amazing to me. Like, I know I'm in the restaurant business for sure, but you put food out and it's like, boy, it's like vultures, man. They flock in this place.
I'm telling you, man.
Within an hour of me being here,
people in radio love
ate
free
it up.
food.
Ate it up.
It's a fact.
I'm telling you what, like I saw people like running for burritos.
Yeah.
Must be good. Shout out Amigos for bringing us breakfast. Where are you watching the game at today?
I don't know yet.
How was your event last night? Darts.
Good. Well, it was good. It was fun. You know, I kept saying the first day of Dart League is like the first day of school.
Yeah, like Christmas.
You're coming back. You're seeing all these people that you haven't seen in months.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I have a new partner because this partner I wasn't gonna play, right? And then this guy approached me. Was like, I need a partner. I'm like, okay, I'll play.
But after you told your old partner you're out.
Yes. You know, I couldn't say no to this guy. He's one of my good buddies.
But you could say no to the old partner.
Well, that was before I knew that was before somebody approached me.
Did you?
Would you just stop?
Would you
stop?
Did you upgrade your partnership?
Hold on, I gotta get somebody on the phone.
Sorry. What is wrong? I should have been an interrogator in previous life. Yeah, now I'm getting all the alerts. Frank died. Frank, American Picker Star. How did this happen? Sad news. Frank passed away last night. I've known Frank. This is, man. 2010. He was there for 10 years. Apparently left the show in 2010. He suffered a stroke in 22, I guess. Huh. They're just
Rob was telling me that he
suffered a stroke in 22. He was out of the show in 20.
Yeah, because Rob told me that he had a drinking problem. And then he did something to his back and then was on like painkillers. I don't know.
Oh, so it was like a problem. He had all kinds of problems.
Yeah. Which sucked because he was a very likable guy.
He was. Yep. Welcome back to the Morning Hookup. Special thanks to Robin Watch at HuskerLane.com hanging out with us. Let's bring on our guy, also from HuskerLane.com, one Brian Munson. What's up, B?
Hey, man, what's up?
Nothing. I just like coming on and talking, and it's usually we're like, man, our team's won, and at least one of them won this week.
I
know it's a tough
right?
one for Buff. I think we always do. Will and I do an overreaction reaction part on Mondays for the NFL. I think Baltimore. I know they started 0-2. I think they're one of the top 3 teams in the NFL.
I think they're better than. Yeah, I do think they're better than what they have started out to be. I think that what they do so well with the physical running game with Henry really exposed, Buffalo not having their top linebackers there.
Yep.
That and the inexperience in the defensive backfield, obviously that played a part too. You got a lack of physicality, that's kind of in that back half. And I just feel like Buffalo's going to have to get a lot tougher. And obviously they had some drops like on key, like third down conversions, and stuff like that. Kincaid on the very first drive. You cannot drop that if it's going to convert for first down. I mean, those were very important drives early on. And of course they just went on in succession, to rattle off 21 points. And all of a sudden you're staring up there going, field goals don't matter. We need to be going for these things, if it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, we need to be going for these things. So it's, I didn't like the offensive game plan, and I surely didn't like the way the defense, didn't want to stand up there and take a couple in the mouth and try to give it back to them a little bit. But offensive game plan didn't make a lot of sense to me either.
I had to rewind it because I know that it's the opposing running back, but Derrick Henry is a specimen. I had to rewatch it. I had to rewatch it at, a lot of miles on that, those tires, but they had him up over 21 miles an hour on that 87 yard. That's incredible.
Still a beast, still very impactful. One of the best out there to ever do it, and a big back on top of it too. It's insane. I mean, he was pulling away from Hamlin, and Hamlin's 6 foot 190-ish, safety, and he had no chance to catching Henry, back there. It was insane.
Well, Brian, let's talk a little recruiting right now. I love your updates, by the way. Can you give me an update? I know because I read the articles, but the headlines just are awesome for me. Who's impressing you the most right now of the commits right now that Nebraska already has? Because Christian Jones, double-digit solo tackles, one of the headlines, and you got Isaiah Mosey is out there doing great stuff for Lee Summit. But who's impressed you the most in their seasons right now?
Yeah. The most, I would say Connor Booth. Connor Booth, I mean, he tied a record last weekend for consecutive 100-yard games, at 11-man football in Nebraska. So next week he should break that record, and he'll do that, fairly easily next week when they play against Malcolm. He obviously he's averaging like close to 13 yards a carry. He's close to 1,200 yards already. He's scored 19 touchdowns. Jamarian Parker's having a good year. Latif is being very effective. They went out and they beat St. Francis out in Baltimore. They lost to Bishop Gorman. Closer game than what you kind of thought it would be. Mosey obviously having a great season. Somewhere automatically, like the stats populated for Tyson Terry last night, so I was happy to get those included. Terry's having a solid year. Terry is being very disruptive. 11 tackle for losses. I mean, he almost has like 1/3 of his tackles are almost goes for a loss. So I felt like that was something that was really big about him. Christian Jones having a great season. Bryson Weber, Jeremiah Jones. I would kind of see that, and I didn't report it, but it's something else that's out there because I know there's some questions about where he could honestly play. But Tanner Church has probably the second best receiving stats of all the commitments, only to Isaiah Mosey. He hasn't played a lot of receiver. I think it was only like through the first 3 or 4 weeks that he's had some stats, but he's done very well out there. So I think out of all of them, Mosey just because of competition, Latif because of competition, and Connor Booth just straight up statistically, he is just having a monster year.
Brian, any big recruits coming this Saturday for Rutgers?
We do know about a couple already, and there's a bunch of guys that are on the fence too. I mean, I was kind of touching base with them a little bit last week, but I do know about a couple that are coming in, like Kamari Moore, no, I take that back. He said he was coming in for UCLA now that I kind of think about that. So but that's a 2025 guy. We'll talk about him again, maybe hopefully later on in this show. Keenan Harris, 2026 safety from St. Louis. Actually, he had a really nice clip of a one-handed interception in his game last weekend, just the other night. So he's a 4-star guy out there from St. Louis University High School. And then Vonwell Whitty, which is a wide receiver from Washington High School in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He will be in. And it's important to kind of mention these two guys here, guys, because all the other kind of 2026 top targets have kind of been able to make it in between Colorado and UNI and UTEP. Like there have been some really favorable game times, like start times for recruits to make it in. But these two in particular had not been able to get there just because they had games on Saturdays and, other things that kind of happen. So getting these two guys on campus is huge because it almost kind of like resets a little bit for Nebraska. Like they get a chance now to kind of, okay, let's try to get some more guys back in again. You got other games kind of happening in the second half of the season once the Big Ten schedule kind of opens up here a little bit. And then you start talking about January, junior days and spring game visits, et cetera. So I think it's huge that Nebraska's getting these guys back on campus. They're definitely two of Nebraska's top targets in the 2026 class.
Again, we're speaking to Brian Montz on HuskerLine.com. Brian, I want to jump in a little bit and talk about pressures of recruiting a little bit. And I'm specifically talking about the offensive line and how much pressure continues to mount. Like and it doesn't, again, I'm not going to say we have to land the big 5. So I know we've had them on campus, but how much pressure and emphasis, I'm sure there's a ton of emphasis, is on, on Donovan and the staff to get some offensive linemen in here to start that pipeline.
I totally agree with you. It's one of those things kind of like after, seeing Corcoran go down and, Gunner having to step up 2 weeks ago, that kind of almost kicks it again into kind of overdrive, the need to kind of backfill some talent, put some other guys into basically into the room to get them developing so you can kind of talk about those guys. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily would like close the books on like the 2025 group. I mean, you got Hammerbeck in the class and he's an amazing athlete. I mean, that was the top basketball player in the state of South Dakota last year. I mean, he's clearly a very gifted athlete and not necessarily a guy that you couldn't see, maybe play in a position other than offensive tackle, but as an offensive tackle, he has some gifts. He has some tremendous gifts. But like if you stare down and you're trying to figure out like what's going to happen like in 2026, you've got a great one in your backyard like a Jackson Cantwell out of Nixon, Missouri, and the pressure does get kind of kicked out of this year's class because you have, Brian Tapu and Houston Torres from Hawaii that are kind of already there in the group with Hammerbeck, but it's not that kind of legit, ready to go kind of guy like we were talking about, like with David Sanders Jr., maybe even a Brandon Baker the year before. There's not been an ability to kind of get that guy out of the high school ranks. Now, can they address that through the portal this fall? I think they have to. I think you're trying now to go find a guy or two that, basically you can put out there at that spot, the offensive tackle position, and take some pressure off of maybe basically not having the players that are currently in the pipeline, and then really trying to go out there and get a Cantwell or some other guys in the 2026 class, obviously, that are more bookend, offensive tackle looking players. So there's a lot of pressure right here, I think, and it's showing up, I think, because there's not been that clear-cut dude that says like, hey, as an offensive tackle, I mean, people probably point at Bricks, but Bricks hasn't, had that kind of impact on the field here for Nebraska. And we all agree, based on where he was kind of coming from, talented, but needed a big jump, from competition and structure and the offense and all that stuff from where he played high school to where he was going to go play in the Big Ten. So not had, a guy, I think, that can kind of just walk in and you just kind of pencil him in and say, get up to speed right away. So that does equal some pressure on this roster and on the staff to kind of land that guy.
We're talking to Brian Munson. Brian, let's go to Saturday. Rutgers coming to town. What with Rutgers concerns you? And then what are you taking from the Purdue game that gives you confidence in Nebraska?
Well, I think from the Purdue game, first of all, I mean, I want to start there. I think what you have there is that I have not been convinced yet that, Nebraska could play football in the second half. There's been nothing up through the first 3 or 4 games of the season where I've just been like, oh, well, they can do this at halftime, and then they go back out there and it continues, or it starts back up again, or they do something a little bit differently. They've come out flat essentially every second half of every game. It was 0-0 at half at Purdue. You had to come out and do something other than what you were doing in the first half. So I feel like the team, didn't pack it in. First game on the road, you're like, I kind of felt like the stage wasn't too big for Raiola. It wasn't. You had some breaks not go your way. You had a very busy, officiating crew that was calling all these penalties, and some of it was fair, some of it wasn't. But I felt like, you had a chance to kind of go out there and say we had to play all 4 quarters to win that football game. So that's big, and I think that with Rutgers, I think you got a 4-0 team, they just beat Virginia Tech and Washington. Was that right? I think that those are the last 2 wins I think for those guys. I think that it's a hard-nosed, well-coached team. And, I think that their strengths are in their, are in the trenches again. So it's another Big Ten, going to hit you in the mouth kind of game. And I just feel like that's maybe where Nebraska can, either do well or can get really totally exposed. Again, it just depends. I think that's the part. The battle up front with them on Saturday is going to be a big deal. And I think obviously too, and it needs to be said, special teams is really becoming a huge concern. I didn't understand multiple things, between the snaps not being accurate to the missing the kick to a coverage guy being 8 yards into the end zone trying to down a punt. I mean, there were just several breakdowns for me all around the field on special teams that Nebraska has to get better, doing those things. Otherwise, it will cost them games in the end.
They are special for sure. Brian, real quick, man, preview for our listeners, what you're working on and what they can see you dropping here soon on HuskerOnline.com.
Yeah, I've got my 3 and out. I'm kind of framing it up right now. I'm gonna write part of it about how special, how easy of a sale this is for the Nebraska staff to kind of just point to the youth movement that essentially is out there for Nebraska right now, with Corey Barney and Carter Nelson and other dudes around the football field, to say, if you want to play early, there's an opportunity. I mean, they are playing the guys that best give them the chance to win. Well, obviously, I skipped over Raiola. I didn't mean to do that. But obviously, you've got a chance here, and you got some key pieces in place, right? Like, they're building towards the future, but they're also proving that they will play guys early, that they have confidence in those players, as they kind of get up. And then I think I'm going to start looking, obviously, at the Rutgers weekend, because this is a very important weekend. We only know about a couple guys right now. There's about 3 or 4 of the guys that I mentioned last week in Tunnel Talk that I know that were either kind of down to Rutgers or UCLA. So I'm going to try to touch base with those guys again a little bit later on the night. But this becomes a critical weekend just because it's an afternoon start. You're given a chance to kind of get some players that are not necessarily just like in state to kind of come in and go to the game. You're getting some like neighboring states, maybe even some radius guys, give them a chance to kind of come in. And that's going to be huge, because I just don't see how many of those other weekends you're going to kind of have, because I don't know how much the coaches are going to be wanting to spend time dealing with that when they've got these very important games, when it comes down to crunch time and getting bowl eligible and trying to make sure that they're going to be playing in December or January.
Awesome. Brian, man, always appreciate your time, my friend. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
We need a better game this weekend for the Bills. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff from him. Let's take a break, and we'll come back with stories that we missed.
More next on the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Yeah, buddy. Here we go. There we go. You're going to be able to keep your focus when you get back to do the news?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm nervous, though.
Yeah, we all
These
are.
wild card rounds are so hard to get out of.
They are.
3 games, all away. Sucks.
It does.
But we made it.
You did make it. Being in the playoffs.
They lost 100 games last season.
Being in the playoffs. Like, seriously. Like, think about it. Not many people make it.
Well, you know what I was thinking about? Is there a professional league where making the postseason is as important? Like, you get what I'm asking? I think baseball.
It's the most important.
It's the most important postseason to make. Like NFL, it's a big deal, right? And NFL it is. NBA, everybody makes the playoffs now.
Yeah, you're right. But that's important.
I think it
I
means
got
the
playoff
most.
bonuses and all that stuff. I saw this stat a while back, but back making the playoffs on August 10th. Let's make out the Tigers. They were 55-63.
Yeah,
they won 31 of the next 42.
Dude,
that's incredible.
They came out of nowhere.
Again, look at the teams. That's it. You're like, there's a lot of other teams that are doing what right now? Sitting at home. Thinking about who they're drafting next, cleaning out lockers.
Right.
Coaches getting fired. I'll probably find somewhere to watch today. Colonel Sanders needs a fresh bowl and an edition of Radio and Records.
Colonel Sanders? Jimmy Carter's the first.
He got facts. Here we go.
The first president to be 100.
Really?
No U.S. president has ever lived to be 100.
That's old, right?
That's old. Yeah, old as dirt.
Still kicking it.
And I think he was before Reagan. I'm surprised you don't know that. Because I thought Reagan came in.
I don't even know.
And got the hostages out.
Well, yeah, he was way up. Yeah, he was after Reagan. Reagan, 91, 81 to 89. Didn't Carter.
Oh, Carter was after Reagan.
Carter's after Reagan. In this order. Yes.
Okay.
No, Carter, Reagan. Carter, then Reagan.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Sorry, Carter, then Reagan. It's weird the way this is set up. Carter, then Reagan. 77, 81, then Reagan, 81, 89.
Alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall. Automatic weapons on the floor, but who can you call?
Welcome back in the morning hookup. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out with us. Also, thanks to I did again. Brian Munson, HuskerLine.com, for hanging out with us as well. Few moments left. Like what, 2 minutes maybe?
Yeah, let's go to the phones.
Go to the phone. Good morning. You're on the morning hookup.
Hey guys, it's Ernesto. Andrew.
What up,
hey,
Andrew?
Not much. What I mean by a fresh bowl is I used to have a boss in Miami called Noel Felipe, and he always had to have a fresh toilet bowl in a Wall Street Journal so he could do his first hour of the day. That's what I'm getting at. I know Will thinks I'm talking about smoking a bowl. No, not that. But hey, Jimmy Carter is more cognizant than Biden right now. So think about that. And Trump is it's the peanuts. They keep the mind going. Come on, follow me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And Trump is going to pardon Pete Rose, so you don't have to worry about that. Diddy's the next one on the hit list. And one more thing. Doug Peterson, we found out what he's going for at Halloween. It's going to be a hobo. We'll work for food.
Ernesto's back, baby.
Okay.
Appreciate you. That's good stuff. Real quick, last night, Monday Night Football. Let's focus on the game that was a pretty darn good game. Seahawks, Lions. Sorry, Shane. They did look good in a losing effort, but a lot of focus on Jared Goff last night. Setting a record, by the way, going 18 of 18. Perfect last night, eclipsing the most by 8 in a row. Kurt Warner was 10 out of 10. 18, perfect.
I thought Phillip Rivers had a game not a few years ago where he was like,
did he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's impressive.
This, that's really impressive. But man, not to be outdone. Like, man, it was a good football game to watch. The other game, yuck.
Yeah. And we had a rare double switch.
Yeah, I switched late in the game. I kind of went with my son talked me into it a little bit, but like Huntley being back home, yada, yada, 0. That was
Two
terrible.
things we learned. I am 2-0 in switching.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
You're 0-2 in switching.
And that Will Levis is terrible.
And the other thing we learned is don't listen to your kids when picking games.
Yeah, I know, but he's really good about it sometimes. So, well, man, we appreciate you guys as always on a Tuesday. Take care of yourselves. We'll be back on a hump day.
Go Royals.